Okay, today we're going to learn about the metric system. You're going to need to copy this. In the center is one big box. On either side is 9 little boxes. We're going to go to the little side first. So we're going to go to the right side first. But in this big box, I have the word mass with a little g for grams, the word volume with a capital L for liters, the word length with a little m for meter, and the word heat with a capital J for joule, J-O-U-L-E. In the first small box is deci, D-E-C-I, with a little d. That little d goes in front of all these units. So a DG is a decigram, a DL is a deciliter, a DM is a decimeter, DJ is a decijoule. The next small one you should have heard of before is centi. Its abbreviation is a C. We're going to use cm, centimeters, in class this year. The next small one is something you also should have heard of before, is milli, like a millipede. MM is a millimeter. Just a plain M is a meter, but a millimeter is an MM. ML is on all your water and soda and Gatorade bottles for milliliters. MG is on all your food labels for milligram. Then yes, there are 2 blank boxes, which I'll explain later. The next small one is micro, which has a symbol of U. So a UM is a micrometer, an MM is a millimeter, just a plain meter is an M. Then again, there are 2 boxes that are blank. Then nano, which has an abbreviation of N, and NG is a nanogram, and NL is a nanoliter, and NM is a nanometer, etc. So let's go to the big side. Opposite of deci is deca, D-E-C-A, like a decade or a decathlon. There's 2 words you should have heard before. It has an abbreviation of a DK. So a DKG is a decagram, whereas a DG is a decigram. The opposite of centi is hecto, which has an abbreviation of an H. An HG is a hectogram, and HL is a hectoliter. The next big one is something you should have definitely have heard of, is a kilo. KG is a kilogram, like if they do a drug bust that you hear about on the news, and they get like 10 keys of Coke. They're talking about a kg, a kilogram. If you're a runner and you do a 5K run, you're doing km, kilometers. Then again, there are 2 boxes that are skipped, the same 2 boxes as over here. The last 2 big terms are computer terms. This one is mega and has a capital M for an abbreviation. So megameter is a capital M, little m. A meter is just a little m. A millimeter is a little m, and a micrometer is a UM. Then again, 2 boxes are skipped, same 2 boxes as over here. And the last big one is something that you should have heard of before, is a kilogram, or a giga, like a gigabyte. So it has a capital G. So a gigagram is a capital G, lowercase g. Just a lowercase g is just a gram. So let's figure out how to use this. So I'm going to give you an example. My first example is this. It says convert 11 gigagrams to decigrams. So copy that down. Example, convert 11 gigagrams to decigrams. And I'm going to show you on how to set this up and how to solve it. So I'm going to rewrite my 11 gigagrams and I'm going to put it over 1. You learned in math that anything over 1 is itself. And I'm going to put parentheses around it. So this is how I start all my problems. I take the given number, I put it over 1 with parentheses. Now, since gigagram is on the top over here, You learned in math, and you're going to learn in here, that if it's on top, it's going to cancel on bottom. So my second parentheses will look like this. So since gigagram's on top here, it's going to cancel on bottom here, and the decigram's going to be here. Now, the numbers in here are very specific. They are going to come from this metric boxes. So we're going to learn how to use this metric boxes right now. Now, in this second step, it's very important to place a 1 in front of the larger unit. So please copy this down. We're going to place a 1 in front of the larger unit. Whichever one of those two units was farther to the left on my metric boxes, we're going to put a 1 in front. So I'm going to look back at my metric boxes and figure out, is a decigram farther to the left or is a gigagram farther to the left? And I'm going to put a 1 in front of that unit. So let's go back to our metric boxes. Gigagrams is over here, right here. Decigrams over here. So gigagrams is definitely larger than a decigram. So I'm going to put the 1 in front of the gigagram, right there. Now we have to figure out how to use our metric boxes and figure out what number to put up top. I'm going between gigagram and decigram. So let's look back at the metric boxes. I'm going to start here at gigagrams. I'm not going to count that box. I'm starting from there. But I am going to count every box, including these blank ones, including this middle one, to go from gigagram to decigram. So starting here, I'm not counting that box. I go 1 box, 2 boxes, 3 boxes, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, I'm counting the middle one. 10 boxes. Now, each box is a factor of 10. That means it's 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, all the way up to 10 tens, which would be a lot of zeros to put right here. But instead of writing that big hunk of number, because I didn't leave that much room for all those zeros, I'm going to write it in exponential notation. So I'm going to write 1 times 10 to the I moved 10 boxes. So I put 1 times 10 to the 10th in there. So this 10 right here means I moved 10 boxes. And you can pull this up on a scientific calculator online to do this. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the tops, I'm going to multiply the bottoms, and then I'm going to divide. So I'm going to multiply my tops, I'm going to put it here, I'm going to multiply my bottoms, put it here, then divide and get my final answer. Well, if I put in my calculator 11 times 1 times 10 to the 10th, I get an answer of 1.1 times 10 to the 11th. And then 1 times 1 is 1. So 1.1 times 10 to the 11th over 1 is just 1.1 times 10 to the 11th. And I put the unit next to it because gigagram up here and gigagram down here cancel. So I am left with just a decigram as my final unit. And that is how you use these metric boxes. Now, the 1 will, in this second step, the 1 will not always be on the bottom. I might have the larger unit on top. So the 1 might be up here, and this exponential notation might be down here. Okay, which we're going to find out with some practice. And those are the metric boxes.